Welcome to Being Authentic AF. I'm Alexis Franzese, a university professor, licensed psychologist, speaker, consultant, and mom with over 20 years of experience studying authenticity. This season explores what it means to express your authenticity and to express it authentically in your work, art, and everyday life. It's for anyone who wants their voice and presence to align with their values and seeks to deepen connections with others, from audiences to colleagues. Through reflections and conversations with creators across different mediums, we'll share practical ways to put your inner work into motion. You'll hear about actionable frameworks for authentic self-expression, and we'll explore themes like intent versus impact, honoring the medium, vulnerability with boundaries, access and context, and why iteration beats perfection. Join me as we explore how to know yourself, be yourself, and evolve yourself, and then express it and keep expressing it, unlocking the path to truly being authentic AF. Welcome to Season 2 of Being Authentic AF. I'm your host, Dr. Alexis Franzese. This season is all about authenticity and expression, both expressing our authenticity and authentically expressing ourselves. I'm here today with Maria Finnegan. Maria wears many hats. She's a mom, a wife, a daughter, a sister. She's a teacher, a coach, a team mom, a friend. She has a faculty position at Duke University in the Department of Health, Wellness, and Physical Education, where she teaches semester-long activity-based courses for undergraduate and graduate students. Maria was diagnosed with Crohn's disease when she was 16 and doesn't let her disease define her. And it has also shaped the trajectory of her professional and personal life and serves as a reminder to live each day with as much authenticity and gratitude as possible. Maria, I am so happy that you're here today to talk about authenticity. So to get us started, I'd like you to speak to what authenticity means to you personally and in your work.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. The synonyms that come to mind, being true to oneself, being true to my morals and values, believing in myself, honesty, integrity. I think those are the things that first pop to my mind. I think also that I strive for authenticity, but I think it's not an all or none. I think you can't be 100% authentic all the time. I don't think that's possible. So I like thinking of it more as I'm just striving towards authenticity, trying to do that most of the time.
Mm-hmm. And as we said in the introduction, you wear so many hats and have so many different roles. When you think about authenticity in light of that, how do you navigate or negotiate that across those different roles?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I think becoming a mom made me be reflective on what is important to me, right? Because I think as a single person and then as a married person, you start to become self-aware, right? Just as you grow. But then becoming a mom and knowing that I'm in charge of these humans and in charge of their development and their own education and their upbringing, it made me think and try to model what is important to me. So I think being a mom is kind of where I honed in on what it does mean to be authentic. And I think also in my career as a teacher, with what I teach, yoga and health and wellness modalities, I think I have to be authentic in how I treat my clients, my students, because they need to trust me. My kids need to trust me. I am going to ask my students to do things that maybe they don't believe they can, and I'm there to show them that they can. So being authentic and developing that honest relationship from the start is really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's definitely a relationship between authenticity and trust. And when people feel like they kind of can count on us to say what's real for us, to check in with ourselves in those ways, it does contribute to trust for sure. Yeah. So a lot of people feel like the concept of authenticity and having a true self starts to be relevant around middle school age. Do you have any memories of many middle school stories?
Oh my gosh,
for us, maybe?
Don't we all?
We do. We definitely do.
Again, when I became a mom, one of the very first things, I swear this is true, I thought, oh God, I have to live through middle school again 3 times. Thankfully, we did okay. Yeah, I think middle school was really, really hard. I think if my life was like a made-for-TV movie, it would be so stereotypically sad. Like 6th grade, I was still kind of cool, went home for summer, came back 7th grade, I had no friends, I had braces, I didn't know what to do with my hair, I'm the oldest. So it was hard. It was really hard. And then summer between 7th and 8th grade, go home, don't see anybody, come back 8th grade, all of a sudden I'm friends again with people. And even though it was so hard, though, I think those years really shaped then the rest of my growth from that, because I know what that felt like. I think also when I think about my authentic self back then, 100% I was not being authentic because of all the things, right? You're 13 and your body's changing and you're trying to figure out how to present yourself and how to fit in, and am I cool? Am I smart? Am I the athlete? And when I look back on those years, middle school and in high school, it was like I was inside this shell and I so badly wanted to get out of the shell, but I didn't know how. And I'm grateful that I had that time, because all the years that have come after, I've had all this growth, and also I'm so proud of who I've evolved to be. Like, it sounds so corny, but like the little caterpillar inside the chrysalis, like coming out, like that took a while. From middle school to high school to college to grad school. And also, again, tying it back to being a mom, I can help my kids go through these hard times too, because I can say, I know I seem like this super cool, like I've got it all together, adult, but it took so many hard experiences and so many moments to learn, to grow, to teach me how to be true. Right. And how to be me.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that, what you just shared with us, because it's really giving voice to the fact that authenticity isn't like this one and done where we're like, we pull back the layers. Yeah. Oh, there's my true self. Now I just have to do that. It is definitely something that's evolving and changing and dynamic and shifting as we grow. And, it took this long to get to where you are now, where I am now. And I imagine that we're going to keep doing this for all of our days.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, please.
So when I think back to that time, and I also share this with my kids too, the one place that I was able to be authentic was when I was playing sports. And even though there were so many socially challenging times in middle school and in high school, when I got on the soccer field, the basketball court, or I participated in track, when I was in track and field, that's when I felt like my true self. Yeah. And I would go out there and I would play really well, score the most points, like do great, and not be scared or timid or afraid. It was like, this is me. And then the game would end and I'd go back to being like the quiet, good little girl, not going to speak her mind, at least at that time. But I'm so grateful for that too, because through sports, I learned to do that. So it was like a safe space that then eventually in other aspects of my life, I got to be that true person. I got to be that unafraid little girl.
I love that, Maria.
Yeah,
and it
was
makes
awesome.
it makes sense in a deeper way now why you have dedicated your life to helping others to get in touch with their athletic interests and their fitness goals and all of that. You've coached so many teams for youth. You work with young adults, emerging adults. You work with people of all ages of the life course. So let's turn gears to that a little bit. I know you talk about your day one philosophy, where like, stop waiting for January 1st or the perfect moment, start today. So can you talk a little bit about what it might mean for someone to kind of pursue their fitness goals with authenticity?
Yes. So the day one kind of mantra, everyone has a day one, just came to me at some point. I think it was when I was working with some clients who had a lot of self-doubt and who used to tell me, well, if I could just lose 10 pounds, then everything will be good, right? Or if I could just achieve this thing at work, then everything would be better. And I used to say to them, like, okay, so let's say the scale said, okay, you weigh 10 pounds less. Like, how does that change your life in any way, right? Right now is your life. Today is your day. So if there's something that you could do today that can make you happy, do it now, right? And if you're scared to start, just say, give yourself grace and be like, today is day one. And today I'm just gonna walk a mile, or I'm gonna drink another glass of water, or I'm gonna get to bed a little bit earlier. But putting it off and saying I'm going to wait till this magical time when the stars align and the planets say, yes, now do it, is just delaying everything, delaying being true to yourself, delaying the thing that you want to start. And yeah, so everyone has a day one has served me so well, and I use it all the time because my own fitness journey waxes and wanes. This summer, I've been able to work out so much because we're not going to travel baseball the way that we used to in the past, because my son is done with travel baseball. So I've been able to go to the gym a ton. That has not happened in 10 years.
Yeah.
And telling myself that, well, today's day one is a way to kind of soften the edges and give myself grace. Like, hey, just because you didn't work out for the last week doesn't mean you can't do something today, right? And then you show up tomorrow or the next day, right? And I'll have so many friends will text me and say, Maria, I had another day one today. I'm like, awesome, you did it, right?
Yeah.
How's that feel? I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I love that. And
Yeah.
it makes me think too about kind of, I've heard it said about kind of switching from one day to day one. And kind of pausing that I'll be happy when mindset, because the conditions are never going to be perfect. And I think people push it off sometimes because they have this idea that there's going to be a moment when they can do it fully. Like, oh, I don't want to do the mini version because I want to only start working out when I can afford a home gym.
Right.
You know, like, not only when all the conditions are aligned, but when they can do it in the best or the ideal way. Yes. But I think sometimes just getting started can be really, really powerful for people.
Yes, 100%.
So you do so many different fitness things. So tell our listeners a little bit about the array of things that you do.
First of all, I just want to tell you how nice it is for you to be asking me these questions. Like, it's so special for you to want to hear from me. So thank you for that.
You're awesome. I've observed you, both in the roles we've shared, each watching our raising our kids, and I've done some work with you in my own fitness journey, and I think you're amazing. And watching your career blossom and come together at Duke, all the things you do, I'm so impressed. So I'm thrilled you're here.
Thank you. Well, currently I am about to enter my 13th year of being on the faculty at Duke. I work in the Department of Health, Wellness, and PE, and I have the pleasure and privilege of teaching 6 activity courses every semester to undergraduate and graduate students. There are 4 credit classes, which is so cool. I wish when I was in grad school or in undergrad I could take yoga or weight training and get credit towards graduation and just have fun and move my body. And I love it. I started out part-time, and then after a couple of years I was fortunate to have a full-time position there, and it's an absolute joy because I get to work with humans that are 18 to 22, 23, so they never age, so I never age, which is a bonus. But yeah, it's great, and tomorrow's the first day of classes, and I'm so excited for that. And then outside of Duke, I've coached, and I have done some personal training. I also teach yoga every other Sunday at a local brewery. It's called Stretch and Sip, and I love that because we're doing yoga in a brewery, so we don't take ourselves that seriously. And I think it creates a space for students, individuals, participants to come where maybe they wouldn't otherwise try yoga, but they think, well, I'll try it, and if nothing else at the end, I can have a yummy beverage and socialize. And then the cool thing is that they discover that they really enjoy it.
Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about the fact that yoga may feel off-putting to people depending on the identities that they hold, where they might not feel like they belong in yoga space. Can you speak to that at all?
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's like hours and hours.
Right. It's a big question.
Yeah, I mean, yoga is for everybody. It is unity, it is community. The guiding principles foster self-love and love for others and truth and honesty and balance. So usually what I hear is, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible. And my answer to that, well, you gotta come try, right? You're stronger than you think, and you might, whether you're flexible or not, it doesn't matter. And I do like to share with my students at Duke, and then also students that take my community classes, that yoga is more than just doing the physical practice. There's an opportunity for mindfulness, for self-discovery, for self-awareness, for truth. to just breathe and be still, right? Our lives are so full sometimes and so busy that for 1 hour we roll out our yoga mats and we get down on the ground. And I like to tell them that the only thing you have to do right now is breathe. How cool is that? Just breathe. And anything else that we do is a bonus.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
So that idea, though, that certain people might not feel that they authentically fit or belong in certain fitness spaces. How do you help people to overcome that and see what might be possible for them? I'm thinking about kind of gender-based ideas people might have related to weightlifting or other activities.
Yeah, again, I could talk for so long about this. I'll speak to my student population for right now. I think some students who choose to take a PE course might have had positive experiences growing up. They were athletes, parents encourage them to work out, whatever it is, and they want to continue that in college. The students, and I love teaching those students. I also really love reaching the students who maybe didn't have a great experience as a child or growing up in PE in high school, whatever. And they're curious to see what they could do, to discover their strengths, to learn to do a sport. The biggest hurdle is just starting, right? And so when people ask me, what should I do? Should I do a couch to 5K? My first question is, do you want to run? Do you want the end result of all this to be running? Because if you don't want to run, then I'm not going to tell you to do a couch to 5K.
Right.
Do you like to dance? What makes you happy? Like going for a walk, being out in nature? Do you like the water? Do you want to swim? I think we can get caught up in what we see on our phones, right? The perfect image of the perfect body, and none of that, we know that none of that's real. That's not authentic. It's just an image. To my students and to my clients, participants, I try to demystify the gym. I try to move away from the stereotypes, and meet people where they are, right? The language in my classes usually revolves around listen to your body, right? If this sounds good to you right now, do it. If you don't want to do that, that's okay too. Maybe you need rest more than you need to do, a handstand right now. But I understand the challenge of starting. Again, this is my career, and I am so good at coming up with excuses. I have every excuse in the book why I shouldn't go to the gym. So I get that it's hard.
Right.
I think find a friend. You want to go for a walk? Great, let's go for a walk. Sometimes in my past, I would have a workout buddy who I would be more accountable. Like when we used to work out, I showed up because you were going to be there. I didn't show up for me. I showed up for somebody else, right? So it's just finding the thing that you like / enjoy / you could tolerate, and then maybe you like it enough, tolerate enough that you want to do it again, and then maybe again, and then hopefully it starts to feed on itself.
Build as a habit.
Build it as a habit, yeah.
Okay, cool. That's a really helpful response. And when we were part of my fitness journey, we did that boot camp.
Yes.
And it was the people that got me up really early in the morning, and knowing that they were going to push themselves to be there too, and that we would all enjoy our days more having had that completed before it's even 8 o'clock and starting all of the things everybody's doing.
That's right.
So I want to look back to something I shared in the introduction that you had indicated as something to put in your bio that was an important part of your journey, was that you had Crohn's disease. You were diagnosed with Crohn's disease when you were 16.
Yes.
So how has that influenced you and authenticity over the life course?
Oh my goodness. So I wore shorts today on purpose because I wanted you to see my scar, which thankfully at this point it's several years old, so you don't see it. But there's a long part of my life where I always wore pants because I was so embarrassed by the scar on my leg. And the scar is a result of a skin condition that is like a secondary manifestation of Crohn's disease. And it was a really, really, really challenging time. I was hospitalized for 34 days. Like there was a period of time where like, am I gonna make it? Am I gonna survive this? But I did. And that's where Stronger Than You Think came about. And being in the hospital, being sick, not knowing if I would ever walk again because I had to have this massive leg surgery, I discovered that over time, with patience, with grace, with a lot of good physical therapy, with work, determination, that we do have the inner strength to overcome challenges. So I say that Crohn's disease doesn't define me, but it shaped me, because these times in my life where my Crohn's disease has been unmanaged, have had flares, I've been so sick, have been so challenging that when I get back on track, I say to myself, I want to do everything I can to not feel that way. When I got really sick with my Crohn's disease and with my leg, it was a time in my life where I was making a career change and moving from what I used to do into more of teaching and fitness and wellness. And while I could look at these health challenges as something really negative, I do try to spin things in a positive light. And that helped me find the path that I was supposed to be on. When I went to college and grad school, I was on track. I wanted to go to med school. I was pre-med, really intense, just very, very stressful. And that's when my Crohn's disease was just off the charts, horrible. And I had to do some soul searching and realize this is just not the path for me. And when I look back on, what I thought I wanted to do and what I do now, I think I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to talk about movement and taking care of your body. And through what I've gone with Crohn's disease, I feel like I can motivate others who might be going through something challenging physically, emotionally, mentally, because I've been through hell and back, with my physical body, and I know how hard it is, but I also feel like the fact that I can walk, run, do yoga today is a testament to just believing oneself, taking care of oneself, persevering, not giving up. And that's just how I try to live now, and I think it does tie back to authenticity, because I want to be healthy and well for as long as I can be. And I want to surround myself with experiences and people that are authentic, that also maybe want me to be healthy and do good things for me and my family.
Yeah. I appreciate hearing that, Maria, because I feel like when we have those hardships and those curveballs, they show us what we're made of.
Yeah.
And we learn so much about ourselves and what we can do, and that becomes something that we can then lean on in the future and leverage that and know that we come through for ourselves, or know that we're resourceful and adaptive, right? And I think that is something we can leverage in the future. And I love hearing about how it has shaped your story. And in listening to you today, it's interesting to hear how all the little pieces kind of tie together. How when you were 12, 13, that being on the field was the place that you felt like you. And got to kind of experiment with what that felt like, and then think about how extending that.
Yes.
And then at 16, how kind of that experience shaped you as well in some really big, powerful ways. So that said, what are some hacks that you have now, or little tricks for you to kind of stay connected with your authenticity?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I've been practicing yoga for so long. I discovered yoga when I was at a gym in my early 20s, and I saw people stretching over in a corner, and I was like, that looks like something that I like to do, because I like to stretch. And I thankfully, over years and years of training and studying and practicing, I learned that yoga is more than just stretching. Asana is one part of it, but what I've learned through my yoga practice, as I alluded to earlier, is self-kindness, turning the volume down on negative thoughts, moderation. There's the yamas and niyamas are the 10 guiding principles in the 8 limbs of yoga, and kind of ways to live your life. And brahmacharya means moderation, balance, continence. And I think about brahmacharya a lot, because we know, working moms wear a lot of hats, being pulled in all different directions. It's so hard to find balance, right? And that word balance is just, it's sometimes the seesaw is not flat. It is like this, right? Up and down, up and down. So I come back to not even the physical practice, but just the teachings, right? Letting go of judging thoughts, finding a way to have balance. That might be just something like, I am just going to drink a glass of water today, right? And I got 1 glass in or 2 glasses in. or I'm going to give myself, 20 minutes to walk the dogs and just look around at the pretty trees. I also come back to one of the other principles in the Yamas and Niyamas is being present, and Ashteya, which is non-stealing, which I turn around to mean being generous and being present. So trying to be in the moment, which again is like a catchphrase, but with my son going to college 2 days ago and having 2 more at home, I feel like this giant clock is ticking on the wall now that's louder than ever before of just the passing of time. And I want to be present as much as I can, mentally, emotionally. And with my son going to college, I look back on the 18 and a half years that he's lived at home, and I feel like I have been. And I want to keep showing up in that way for my kids.
That really resonates. You may have a same age child or
we
two.
Do.
And I think that presence of mind also keeps us from, there's a place for some nostalgia and sentimentality, but it can become crippling for people when they're so caught in trying to recapture the past or mourning days that have ended that they're actually not in the present. So I think the degree to which we can ground ourselves in the moment that we're in is protective from getting into that overly nostalgic stage. Because if you're present to each day you're in, you can just be in it, have it, live it out, and then don't have to mourn for it again because you did it so fully when you were there.
Yeah.
But it's challenging to do that because that pull sometimes of the past is profound. And then, of course, the worries for the future and the anticipation, all of that stuff, it's challenging for sure to just be in the moments that we're in.
Yes, 100%.
Something for all of us to practice. So I want to ask you about any authenticity kind of role models or heroes or people that you see out in the world, like, ooh, they feel really authentic to me, and I want to touch on why.
Yeah, as I've matured, I have learned what type of person I gravitate to. And again, I think this is something we can relate to. We interact with so many people in our day, and I'm so fortunate to have so many people in my life. And also I am pulled towards the ones who are real. And I think of it like if I bump into somebody in the grocery store, and this happens all the time. Hey, how you doing? I don't like to say, oh, I'm fine, right? But sometimes you just say fine because that's just, fine, how are you? And you move on, right? But I love when I bump into the person in the grocery store where I can just be like, well, I just took my son to college and I'm a hot mess, right? And that person can receive that as well because I know that they are authentic and they're there for it too.
Right.
It's almost like I don't have as much space in my life anymore for just the fine, right? Because we're going through this life, as far as I know, you get one chance to do it, right? And so my time is, to me, is very valuable, and I want to have meaningful connections with people. I can't think of any one particular person, but I'm very grateful for friends in my life who do show up that way for me. Yeah. No, Maria, you don't get to text me that you're okay. If I text certain friends, okay, they go after me. Mm-hmm. No, we need more. And I love that, and I want to be that person for others as well.
That's awesome. And I think also on that, when we're in touch with and respect our own authenticity, we're better equipped to make room for the authenticity of others. Like, do you ever feel that shift in yourself where you have more or less room for other people to be who they are?
Yes.
Like where your bandwidth for it is kind of wider or more narrow. And I find personally that oftentimes it's totally correlated to how I'm feeling about me. Yes. I have more room for you to be you if I've made more room for me to be me.
That's so true. That's so true.
And so when we find those people that are making room for us, and we find that we want to make room for them too, what a win, and what a delightful feeling that actually is to be in that space.
Yes. So well said.
So Maria, I want to go back to the comments you made about feeling like yourself on the field. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about how athletics can give people access to different parts of themselves that they might not be able to enact off the field. And I'm specifically thinking about kind of gender expectations about behavior, and looking at my own daughters. I saw them on fields and courts experimenting with these bolder versions of themselves there first, and then in the rest of their lives. Can you speak to that a little?
Yes. When I think back to those middle school days that I was describing, and even in high school, I really felt like I had two different personalities, my athletic personality and then the rest of me. And the rest of me wanted to be like my athlete self, but just didn't know how to. But on the court, I love that you said boulder. On the court or on the soccer field or in track, I was fearless. I had, as soon as basketball season started, my knees were black and blue from the very first day all the way through the end of the season and more, because of diving on the floor to get a ball. I would kill you to get the ball. I was going to hold on to that and grab it from you, and I got a concussion from diving on the floor. It's a badge of honor at this point. But sports and athletics was just my safe space. I don't know why. My family growing up, we did a lot of sports outside with my dad. We didn't have a ton of money, so we did like rec sports, but there was no travel sports. There was no travel soccer for girls, even though I wanted to play so badly. So we played in our backyard, and then I just developed this love and realized that I was pretty good at it. So when I got to school, I was able to play. And like I said earlier, I'm just so grateful for having that space to be authentically me. Not that I wanted to be like diving on the floor,
right,
like fighting people outside of sports, but just feeling brave to take the ball, to like dribble and take a layup, or I used to throw javelin and do long jump, like to do those things. I did that in front of everybody, right? But then if I had to answer a question in social studies, I would turn bright red because I just was so timid in that environment. It didn't feel as safe to me.
Sure. And even beyond that, with athletics, to be applauded for when you do those bold moves, right? To hear people,
articles written about me, and like awards,
have that be rewarded, and valued.
Right.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah, so much.
Okay, so we're going to go back, just a few more questions. We're going to go back a little bit to your teaching and personal training.
Yes.
I've heard that you never have taught the same routine twice. How do you decide what feels kind of authentically Maria, authentically you, versus kind of this pressure to keep up with trends or what's going on in the field?
Such a good question. I would say in my early days of teaching fitness-based classes, I really prided myself on always coming up with unique routines and unique sequences. And we moved a couple years ago, but before we moved, I had binders filled with handwritten workouts and sequences for yoga and for all my other classes that I taught. And I would, every time I would write one, I'd put it in there and store it away. And as I evolved as a teacher, I learned to, go back to those and tweak them and change them a little bit. But over time, what I want to stay true to is teaching or helping others move their bodies in really safe, effective ways. So yes, if you come to my class, I will never repeat exactly what I've done in the past, but it will feel familiar with a little variation here and there. I can read the room, see what the vibe is for the class. But my goal is for each participant to move in a way that's really respectful of their body. And especially in yoga, I will often say, these are suggestions, right? I would like for you to follow along, but if you need rest, if you need to do something different, that's fine too. And the same with like a weight training class or a fitness-based class. There's always options to make it more intense, to make it less intense. Again, coming back to this idea of just meeting students where they are.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. And looking ahead, what changes might you want to see in the fitness industry so that authenticity is enacted as more than just a buzzword? Mm-hmm. What do you think would be good improvements to the field?
I have been in the fitness industry now for 24 years at this point. It's crazy. And so I've seen a lot of changes. And there's always going to be something new popping up, a new fitness trend. And I love it because if it gets you moving your body, then I'm all for it. I also want to always stay true to what's safe, what's effective, make sure humans know how to move their body foundationally, right? So before you're going to do like a squat with weights, you do a body weight squat, something, super simple, and then you progress it. In the industry as a whole, I would love to continue to see education of trainers, teachers, coaches to have a good foundation of those basic movements, right? Rather than just teaching this one specific style, like understanding human anatomy and physiology and muscle movements. I also think at this point, we need to honor the whole person, right? As opposed to just honing in on metrics or data or outcome. I think one of the things that I pride myself on when I teach any of my classes is building a sense of community, creating a place where students feel like they belong, right? They're included no matter where they are, right? Because everyone's going to bring their own history to a class, to a training session. So if there's a way for us to continue to find inclusive language, action-oriented language, and create a space where someone feels cared for, like they're doing something good for themselves, and then they enjoyed it, that they want to do it again. To me, that's like the winning combination. And I think it's out there. I just would love to continue to see more of that.
Right. I like that focus on inclusivity, and I think that sense of belonging and seeing this as something you can claim as a genuine part of who you are and feeling kind of legitimate in that space is really key. And I love hearing in this interview, in this discussion, about the ways that you help people to feel that way. That's very cool.
Well, thank you.
So just a few closing things now. Do you think that we have an ethical imperative or mandate to be authentic with each other?
Oh gosh.
The minute I bring out ethics.
Really heavy. I mean, I'd like to see it. I think at the start of our conversation, I said that for me personally, I think I'm striving towards it. I think it would be hard to mandate it. I was thinking about conversations you and I have had in the past, and I think when I think about me being authentic, that doesn't mean that I'm bearing my soul to everyone that I meet in the produce section of the grocery store. Like, oh my God, it's terrible, or oh, I need to tell you all these great things. But I just think just being real, right? Being true to yourself, even in little doses, right? Having a mandate, maybe not so much. Not so much. But I think we as parents, as the grown-ups, can model that for the next generations. I think that's really important. Yeah. I think with the opportunity to be distracted from in-person experiences, through phones and technology and all that stuff, I think being real with the individuals that are in your life and right in front of you in the moment is really, really important.
I totally agree. I think that people right now have such a deep longing for authenticity, and it's also harder than ever to experience it. I think in part due to social media and this kind of pressure to be curated. But I love seeing that it's valued, and I feel like that people are bringing attention to the longing to be for authenticity and speaking openly about it, and I think that good things will come from that. And I'm a big proponent of pro-social authenticity, meaning if your authenticity oppresses other people, go ahead and suppress.
Right.
But authenticity for the good, I'm a big fan of. So do you feel that we all have equal access to authenticity? Or do you think that some of us, if we might hold a marginalized identity, that authenticity is harder to enact?
Yes. Again, that is a deep, deep question. I think I can only speak for myself for how I try to live an authentic life. And my challenges are my own, just like my neighbors' challenges are their own. I think, so I don't think I can speak for someone that is not me. However, I can try to remember that we're probably all trying to live our best life and be our, sometimes the best or a goodest version of ourselves that we can be. And I think we've chatted about this, but just understanding, like meeting people where they are, right? So if I have a student who's really struggling, I'm going to try to look at things from their point of view. Maybe college is really hard right now. Maybe they didn't figure out how to do their laundry, or maybe something's going on in their life, so not being reactive. Like when I became a teacher, I told myself that I saw a quote somewhere, like, be the teacher that you needed. When I became a mom, I was like, be the mom that you needed. And that's how I tried to live. Right? Be that person that I needed in my moments of challenge, and show up for others the way I would like them to show up for me.
And I think I hear in that the value of curiosity. And in taking someone else's perspective, the first step in that is just being curious about what it might be.
Yes.
And then learning from them, whatever, what they want to share, that helps you to kind of better understand their experience. But meeting people where they are is a great thing to do. So as we wrap up, any closing thoughts about authenticity that you want to share with our listeners and viewers?
Oh my gosh. First of all, I love that you asked me to be a part of this. It's just a privilege and honor that you want to hear from me. I think being part of this has made me think about authenticity more, because I do throw that word around. Tomorrow I will greet hundreds of students, in my classes and meet them and get to know them. And one of the things that I say in my first day of class spiel that we all have, right, when we introduce our syllabus and about the class, is that I am going to try to show up for you, to bring my A game, and to be my authentic self. I say that all the time. And I think by being part of this with you, it made me think, like, well, what are you actually meaning when you say that? And what I mean when I say that to them is that you're gonna see the good and the bad, right? I'm not gonna bring like personal struggles with me to class all the time. I'm gonna try to be positive and motivating and inspiring. But I think the thing that helps me build connections with students is showing I'm also human going through it.
Right.
I will tell them this tomorrow. When I went to college, I went to a gigantic state school. I never for 1 second thought about what my professor did after they got off the stage. Never. I never thought, did they have a family? I think I just thought they went and plugged themselves into a battery and just came back out and lectured about organic chemistry the next day.
Yeah.
And so on day one, I say to my students, these are all the hats I wear. Yeah. This is what I do when I leave.
Right.
Like, I have a 10-hour day after I leave teaching you after 8 hours, right? But I think that helps so much, because they then see me as a living, breathing human who feels the way they do, right? And then it also deepens the relationship, because then trust, they feel safe. Can I talk to you after class? This is bothering me, right? So you create an environment where we're being real, right? Because to me, that's like what it's all about. Like, I'm here for the good and the bad and everything in between. Don't just tell me you're fine.
Mm-hmm. I think authenticity makes us relatable and absolutely deepens connection.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful, Maria, that you took the time to be here today. Thank you so much for being on the show. And you've really given us some important insights about how we can express our authenticity through our physical and movement practices. And I thank you for that.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Being Authentic AF. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe to our series wherever you get your podcasts so that you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep being Authentic AF and let that authenticity uplift and inspire others. Take care.